Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all my Centurion Yugioh deck profile for November 2023. This is definitely probably the most hyped up deck from the Valiant Smashers booster set. It also has 5 ultra rares in the set if you were looking to build the deck. Definitely one of the more difficult ones to do so, needing 3 main deck monsters, a spell, and a synchro monster to complete it all together. But I figured I'd bring you a deck profile with what I have for the deck. I haven't been able to accumulate all the cards for the deck. I don't want to build Centurions. It's definitely going to be a very, very pricey deck to build. But if you're looking to build it, I can show cards that you can at least substitute for some of the other ones until you collect up the deck and show what I have available for it. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. Probably one of the more pricier cards aside from the spell is the main deck monster, Centurion Primera. It is a level 4 tuner with the main focus for the Centurion deck being to get out your level 12 synchro monsters, including our boss monster here, Centurion Yugioh. With this card, while this card is a continuous trap, level 5 or higher Centurion monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Centurion Primera once per turn. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Centurion card from your deck to your hand, except for Centurion Primera. And also you cannot special summon Centurion Primera for the rest of this turn. During the main phase of this card is a continuous trap, you can special summon this card. So that's the setup for a good number of the different Centurion monsters. I have a Centurion Emeth the 6 and a Centurion Bonds just as an additional spot for this card in the deck. But this is your searcher, so probably one of the more important cards to use, also being your level 4 tuner to summon out your level 12 synchro monsters from the extra deck onto the field. One of the other cards is our Centurion Yugioh, which I am just replacing with 3 for the count of this card. You do want to run 3. I only have the 1, but have 2 Spooky Dogwood from the booster set as another spot holder. During your main phase, you can place this card you control in 1 Centurion monster from your hand or deck, except for Centurion Yugioh in your spell and trap card zone as face-up continuous traps. Also, you cannot special summon Yugioh for the rest of this turn. During your main phase, if this card is a continuous trap, you can special summon this card. Then you can increase its level by 4. You can only use this effect with Yugioh once per turn. This is meant to set up your Primera to then be able to special summon it. So you have the option of being able to have special summon it from your spell and trap card zone as the continuous trap, giving you that monster on the field. Yugioh is just that placement of that card. So when you have this card on the field, being another search, giving you that face-up trap card as Yugioh herself in the spell and trap card zone. I also run the 1 copy of Centurion Emeth the 6. During your opponent's turn, if this card's in your hand or graveyard, quick effect, you can target 1 Centurion monster you control except for Emeth the 6 and place it in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous trap. And if you do special summon this card, also you cannot special summon Centurion Emeth the 6 for the rest of this turn. And during your main phase, if this card is a continuous trap, you can special summon it. Having the special summon option once again, but being a level 4 non-tuner to also use with your Centurion Primera for the level 12 synchro plays that I mentioned before also. Now, having a level 4 tuner, you need some level 8 monsters, a little more easier than your Emeth the 6 to summon out onto the field. That's why I am running the Horus engine as well. It is going to be a pretty pricey deck, so running the Horus engine just as an added backup for monsters that can be special summoned from the graveyard quite easily, I would say, is your best go-to. If you didn't want to run these cards, you could try a Gizmic engine. It's a little more risky with the banish power of those level 8 monsters. At least the Horus monsters can give you search power, with your Imseti being able to search out your King Sarcophagus, which you need face up on the field to then be able to special summon these cards back from the graveyard, giving you that constant special summon power of your level 8 monsters to then use for your level 12 synchro plays. Also, the 1 copy of Duamatef, the Blessing of the Horus, 1 Happy, and 1 Gubenesef for the 1-ofs, giving you more level 4 monsters to also set up with your King Sarcophagus in the graveyard. For some other synchro options with those cards as well, I run the 2 copies of Vision Resonator. If a level 5 or higher dark monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Vision Resonator once per turn this way. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 spell or trap that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend from your deck to your hand. So this can be used with cards like Imseti to then go for a level 10 synchro play, relying on some other tuners as well to not only have to rely on our level 4 monster, if we want some level 10 synchros available in the form of Baron de Fleur to use also. And then for the rest of the main deck monsters, just the hand trap lineup of 3 Ash Blossom and the 3 Nibiru. If you want to run Droll and Lockbird instead of the Nibiru, I have Nibiru in here more as just a going second option. If you want to run Droll and Lockbird, you can take out the Nibiru for that spot. Moving on now to the spells, I run 3 copies of Emblem Oath. Once again, a searcher. You activate one of these effects. You place 1 Centurion monster from your deck in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous trap. For the rest of this turn, while you control that card or any card with the same original name, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except for Centurion monsters, and you can set 1 Centurion spell or trap directly from your deck. You can activate 1 Emblem Oath per turn, but giving you that monster in your spell and trap card zone can then give you the special summon that monster onto the field to then utilize that card as well. It's a quick play spell as well, so you have that set up for your monsters quite easily also, depending on when you want to activate this card, and then you can use all the Centurion monsters that you set up in your spell and trap card zone thanks to it. I also run 3 copies of Stand Up Centurion. It cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while you control a Centurion monster. You can only use each of the following effects of Stand Up Centurion once per turn. During your main phase, if this card was activated this turn, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to place 1 Centurion monster from your deck in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous trap. If a monster is special summoned, you can immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon 1 synchro monster using monsters you control as material. So what's also good about the Horus engine is you can send those cards from your hand to the graveyard as a cost for the field spell to then just special summon back onto the field if you have your King Sarcophagus ready to go. But then once again, more setup for your other Centurion monsters in the spell and trap card zone to then just special summon back. And then also just the 1 copy of Centurion Bonds. We have the placeholders for this card for some of the other monsters that we run in the deck, but just the 1 copy normally is what you want to run. It's searchable with your emblem spell. You place 1 Centurion monster from your hand or graveyard in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous trap, and if a Centurion synchro in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can banish this card to target Centurion monster in your graveyard and place it in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous trap. So just having that synchro monster special summon can give you more of a recycle using this card for those other monsters you used for it. I also run the 2 copies of King Sarcophagus. It is searchable with Emseti. I'm just worried more for the fact that if your opponent does manage to destroy one of these cards or banish it, you need that target to be able to use the rest of your level 8 engine for your Horus monsters. And then also the 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent more, so if your opponent does react to any of your monster effects, you at least have a draw power to go after as well, and with this card being reprinted in the Rarity Collection, much more affordable in the deck also. But once again, if you're building this deck, I don't think, budget is really something you're going for. And then also the 1 Terraforming to search out the Centurion field spell, 1 Call by the Grave, and then the 1 Crimson Gaia to be able to search out the Vision Resonators, or to have a search off of the Vision Resonators to search this card to give you an additional level 2 tuner by searching out your final copy. And then for the traps, I run the 2 copies of Centurion True Awakening. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, you send 1 face-up monster card in your spell and trap card zone to the graveyard to negate the activation and destroy that card. So any of the setup Centurion monsters in your spell and trap card zone can then be used to power this counter trap. And lastly, the 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, just another hand trap along with Ash Blossom and Nibiru in the deck to use. Moving on now to the extra deck, I run 2 copies of Centurion Legadia. This is the level 12 boss monster synchro that we run in the deck. Your monsters with 2,000 or less attack cannot be destroyed by battle. You can only use each of the following effects of Centurion Legata once per turn. If this card is special summon, you can draw 1 card that can destroy the monster your opponent controls with the highest attack your choice. During the end phase, you can place 1 non-synchro Centurion monster from your hand or graveyard in your spell and trap card zone as a face-up continuous trap. So not only is this a 3,500 attack point boss monster, it also sets up for more synchro plays later on because we have other higher level synchro monsters to use, but the destruction power as well just when it's special summon, and then giving you a draw off of it also for more consistency for more cards in your hand. I also run the 2 copies of Baron de Fleur for the level 10 option to go into with our Horus monsters and our Vision Resonator as another negate against our opponent, and also the 1 Ascension Sky Dragon for another level 10 target. For the other level 12 monsters, I run the 1 Crimson Dragon for the option to summon this card out, and then go into our bigger monsters like Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, King Calamity, or Cosmic Blazar Dragon using that monster, depending on which one you want to summon out for that play, or you could even use that option available to you. And then also for the Xyz monsters, the one number 68 and the one Zeus, if you have to overlay your Horus monsters as well, with our Link monsters being the one IP Masquerena, the one SP Lilo Knight, the one Sky Striker Ace Azalea, the one Almirage, and the one Unicorn for the rest of the Link monsters and the extra deck. As for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I said before, Emblem Oath is a great setup card. Just being able to activate and place a Centurion monster from your deck into your spell and trap card zone. So you can set up your Primera like that, and then special summon your Primera off of its own card effect, since you didn't activate its first effect for this card as well. And when it's special summon, you can add a Centurion card from your deck to your hand. So then you can go for the additional search of your other card, being your Centurion Trudea. This card will then be able to use for the normal summon, placing it and one other Centurion monster from your hand or deck. So then you can use this card to search out your Emeth the 6, placing Emeth the 6. And while you can't summon Trudea back, you can summon out your Emeth onto the field, being the cards needed for your synchro summon of your level 12 Centurion Lagasha onto the field. And then when synchro summon, being able to draw one additional card, destroy an opponent's card with the highest attack if you wish. But then you can also place one non-synchro Centurion monster during the end phase, setting up more monsters for you to use the following turn also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, it's just more of a take on one of the more pricier decks we have from the Valiant Smashers set. We will be getting more support for it in the upcoming sets as well, so I will look to update it at least when that time comes around. But as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.